My name's Jarvis Cocker, and I just wanted to remind you that you're listening to the Joel Kafetz Show. Enjoy it.
You are, of course, tuned to the Joel Kafetz Show, and tonight it's not any ordinary Joel Kafetz Show, it is the Christmas special. And I've got my fantastic guest in the studio, Jane Cyzelska. Hello, Jane.
Hi.
Oh, look at her getting all show busy. Now, talking about showbiz, I have got my favourite therapist in the world on the phone, Mr. David Smallwood. Hello.
Hi, Joel. How you doing?
I'm very well. How are you?
Not so bad.
Now, of course, you know, Christmas is supposed to be a fun time, it's supposed to be an enjoyable time, but I think, you know, the pressure can get to us, as LGBT people or just people, really. So I thought, what a brilliant idea for you to come on and just give us a couple of tips to really enjoying, you know, the Christmas experience.
Yeah, sure.
So what have you got for us today?
Well, just a few, but I suppose the first one, there'll be a lot of people, like kids out there listening and who are not yet out. And the thing I'd say is Christmas Day, after a couple of glasses of wine and perhaps some sherry or something, it's not a good idea to come out to your parents on Christmas Day. It's a nice idea, and it's full of the festive spirit and, you know, peace and goodwill and all the rest of it, but that's not necessarily how your parents would perceive it. So I'm not saying they would take it badly, but I think it's a difficult time to do things like that. So just be a bit circumspect if that's what you're thinking of doing.
No, absolutely. And of course, you know, our message is not to not come out at
Absolutely.
all, but there are another 364 days of the year.
Absolutely.
So that might be a better time. The other thing is, you know, the chances are you're going to spend Christmas maybe with your family, so in a family home, and maybe a neutral environment like, you know, a restaurant or a coffee bar or somewhere like that. I always think that could be, you know, a better place to come out in. Then if their reaction is negative or they need a bit of time to get their heads around it, maybe that could be a better environment.
Yeah, especially if you can sort of speak to them and then have some distance, so you leave them to think about it and deliberate whatever. That's probably a good idea, yeah.
No, totally. And I actually wrote my dad a letter when I came out to him.
You?
Yeah, I did. And that was really good because I don't know, I couldn't really, I found it very difficult to talk to him about it. And it also just, you know, he phoned me instantly and said, yeah, I thought so, and was great about it. But it just gave him that space to process it and take it all in, really.
Well, my father said to me, I guess it's all right, but don't bring one of them here.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've had the slightly opposite thing, so I can understand both sides.
No, that sounds tough. And is he different about it now, or?
He's dead now, so
right.
bless him. But he wasn't very happy about it, no.
No, okay, cool, all right.
Right, second thing is, if you're at home, and you know, I guess there are very few kids these days, 14 upwards, 15, 16, 17, 18, right up to whatever age, who don't have a mobile phone. That means you have access to friends. So if it's a bit tough and you're feeling a bit out of it or a bit alone, then phone somebody, because there'll be somebody else, I'm guessing, who feels just like you. My experience is that when you pluck up the courage to phone somebody else and say, I'm having a difficult time, that actually you help the other person as well. That's my experience, that you know, whenever somebody phones me and says, David, can you help with this? You know, I'm feeling a bit out of it. I get a lot more out of it than they do.
I think that's I think that's a really good tip. And also, the person that you phone, they may be worse off than you are,
Absolutely.
Which could make you feel better.
Absolutely, yes. It's always a good idea. I think to talk to friends anyway on Christmas Day is a good idea. But you know, if you are feeling a bit out of it, just take the courage, do it, because you'll probably be almost certainly helping somebody else as well.
That's true. I may phone Jane on Christmas Day.
Well, tell me that you're gay. I hope you don't bring one of those round to my house.
You know, David, you'll get used to Jane's humour. Yeah, you will. It's taking me time to getting used to it, but I'm gradually getting my head around it.
Well, you can't beat a bit of left field. That's good stuff.
Oh, bless her. She is, isn't she? We sort of complement each other well in a slightly odd way.
Okay.
Neither of us understand why we work well together on the radio, but we just do.
Well, it doesn't matter, does it? If it works, it works.
That's what we say, isn't it, Janie?
Chalk and cheese.
We are chalk and cheese, really. Yeah. Well, there we go. Okay, anyway, I'll stop telling you how brilliant we are.
Anyway.
Crashing on.
Right, third one.
Yeah.
It gets better. if you're feeling in the slightest bit sort of down, or even if you just need a bit of sort of uplift, log on to YouTube and type in "It Gets Better" and look for the one from Barack Obama. It's about gay men and being bullied, and it is one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen on YouTube. It really is fantastic, absolutely wonderful. The guy's just such a lovely, lovely man, and he says, it will get better. It won't always be like this, because all of us, one way or another, get bullied or whatever. But eventually, it will get better.
No, absolutely, and there are loads of other ones as well. There's Jake Shears did one that actually made me cry.
Yes, there's some really good ones on there. Yeah, I just love the Barack Obama one. It just really, really spoke to me. I just thought it was great.
Very powerful. No, that's a top tip. Brilliant.
Next thing, remember that Christmas effectively is 2 days. We make all the hype, all the stuff, all the festivities, all the sort of TV stuff and the spectaculars and all the you must do this, you must do that. But actually, it's just 2 days. It will be over the day after Boxing Day, and then we all get back to normal again. So whatever's happening, 2 days later it'll be okay.
That's a top tip, that one, really. I mean, it is, and we do wind ourselves into, or I certainly wind myself into a frenzy. Jane, do you wind yourself into a frenzy?
Never.
No. She's very chilled out, is Jane. So she probably doesn't, but no, I do. And you constantly watch Boots adverts on the television and God knows what other adverts saying, it's the best thing in the world. And I think that does, and then my expectations of the day are sky high. And really, it's a day to chill out with your family, have a bit of lunch, eat too much, have a little sleep in front of the telly. And it's always been a disappointment, I think, Christmas Day in the past, because it's only, I wind myself into a frenzy, really.
Yeah. Actually, it's a good point. Having no expectation means you must have a good time. Because if you don't expect anything to happen, good, bad, or indifferent, whatever happens, happens. So it's usually pretty much okay. It's when you build yourself a load of expectation before you even start, that's when the trouble starts, because rarely has my expectation of a Christmas Day been the way it's actually panned out. I've got sort of, we're going to have about 6 or 7 people for Christmas lunch, because there are people who I know who have been suffering, and I've invited some of them round to my house, my flat for Christmas. But I know that I can't sort of project about what will happen because I don't know, so therefore I'm not going to. And I know it'll be okay.
Good for you.
There'll be a bunch of strangers, so, if I expect them to do this or that, I'm actually setting myself up for a fall.
No, I know what you mean. I was thinking about inviting Jane round to mine for Christmas Day.
I'd love to, but I'm afraid I'm otherwise engaged.
Oh, I know. No, I meant that as a little catty joke. But she threw that back in my face in a very subtle way. But there we go. No, but I think that is really good advice, and it always, if I ever think of somebody else, it always makes me feel a bit better. Frankly,
yeah,
so that's top tip.
Okay, and the last one I was thinking of is if it gets that bad, don't go. In other words, nothing can be. You don't have to sit in pain. If it gets too much, go for a walk, or just don't go. If you're going to go around to your parents and you don't live with your parents, and or whatever, or family or whatever. I keep saying parents, but it could be anybody. But if it feels too much, then don't go. Again, it's only 2 days. It might be a bit sad, but it won't last forever. And if it gets really bad at home and there's bickering or, asides or whatever, then just put your coat on and go out for a walk.
Absolutely. No, it's true. I think that's such good advice. And I think it's always, like for Christmas Day, I think it's a good idea just to think through whether you want to accept whatever invitation you've sort of been given.
Yes.
And also, I think, I know I've got friends who are not spending it with their family. They're spending it with other friends, and that's their choice. And their family are not happy about it, but that has been their choice. For whatever reason. And I think that's really good. And one year, a couple of years ago, I volunteered to work at a homeless shelter about a 5-minute walk away from my flat on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting, and it made me very grateful for what I've got, and eye-opening to sort of see other people, and it was a really different way to spend Christmas Day. It was great. Actually.
Yeah, one of the best Christmas days I've ever had was when I was a trainee in a treatment centre in Kent. All of the patients went down to the church for Christmas Eve carols at midnight, and then we had Christmas lunch in the dining room, and because everybody was away from home, it was just absolutely fantastic. It brought everybody together.
Wow, how lovely.
Well, fantastic.
I also have spent a few Christmases not with my family on occasion, like with girlfriends, or with their families, or with friends. Like I remember when I was living up in Leeds, particularly just shortly after I'd come out and I didn't feel very welcome at home, I decided I'd spend it with my chosen family. So I spent it with a group of friends, and it was really, really lovely. And it was difficult, I don't think my parents were very happy about it, but it was just what I needed to do at the time. And I think that's quite normal as well. If you're heterosexual, very often, one person will go to the family of their partners, for example, and one sort of set of parents is going to be sort of feeling a bit, left behind or whatever. But that's just life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I also spent one Christmas working on a helpline for a charity as well, and that was really great. It was a really lovely thing to do, to be able to just sort of be at the end of the phone. For people that just felt like they couldn't cope, and to sort of be a kind of caring, kind of listening ear. And again, my family weren't very happy about that at all. But I just felt like that year, that's what I wanted to do. So, there's lots of different ways you can spend Christmas. I think probably Crisis at Christmas and Shelter now have got all the volunteers that they need.
By this time of year, probably.
Yeah.
But you never know. It's always worth sort of contacting them.
And a good point there as well, because, if you are feeling a bit out of it and you need someone to talk to and you can't get a friend, then there are helplines that you can actually phone to speak to somebody, because, you won't be alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you can ring up, if you are gay, I'm sure you can probably ring up your local switchboard and talk to somebody there. If you're feeling in crisis, you can ring up the Samaritans. If you're worried about drinking, you can ring up Alcoholics Anonymous. There's all sorts of different, helplines and people at the end of phones that can really sort of help you get through the day if you need it.
Brilliant. Fantastic. Well, we're very advice heavy. We've all got advice for people on this show today. But I think it can be, a difficult time of year for some people. And I love your tips, David. I think they're brilliant.
Thank you.
They're very good. All right. Fantastic. Well, look, have a really wonderful Christmas. Thanks so much for coming back on the Joel Kafetz Show. It's always lovely to have you on.
God bless. Speak soon.
Thank you, David. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, the lovely David Smallwood there, who's my therapist and a brilliant therapist for gay people. And I will let me just get his contact details, which I've got here. If you feel the need for a therapist, or you're feeling, things are a bit difficult for you at the moment, then you can contact David Smallwood. He is on 07810 874 135. He's always very happy for people to give him a call.